Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Spiritual Connection Show. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. I'm a transformation coach. I'm an energy healer. I'm a shamanic practitioner, and I'm the spiritual head of the Transformation Center, which is based in Westport, Connecticut. And the purpose of the center is to assist you in finding out who you really are and letting go of who you are not. And we do this through various things. I have the individual coaching sessions and healing sessions. We also have workshops, classes. We even have sound baths in the backyard. We've had a lot of those this year. And you're welcome to come anytime and check out what we have. I'm going to put our website up so you can see how to contact us. And there's an event calendar. There we go. It's transformationcenterct.com. So you can check out what events are happening. And one thing we do regularly every month, the second Tuesday of the month, we have what we call a shamanic clinic. And that is an opportunity for you to find out more about shamanism if you're curious, because you can sign up for a half hour, 30-minute session. And during that time on Zoom, so you're put in a breakout room with a practitioner, with a trained certified practitioner, and you get an extraction healing and a medicine drumming. So it's like a little intro as to what the benefits are of shamanic healing. So that's a great opportunity. You can check that out. And it's a community service. So there's no set fee for it. You can just donate or contribute whatever you want to for that. So that's one thing. There's every month there's something different. So be sure and check that out at transformationcenterct.com. All right. So the Spiritual Connection Show is all about connection, right? What a surprise. It's one of my core values, and I just love meeting new people, finding out about their journey, what they're up to, and sharing that with you, as our viewers, so you can find out what's in it, what's in it for you, like what speaks to you about their journey. And they all have something different to offer. So I'm glad you're here with us tonight. And I'm very excited to introduce my guest, Heather Schwartz. Thanks for being here, Heather.
Oh, thanks for having me, Katie.
Yeah, I'm really excited that you were able to join us. So I'm just going to read a little bit about Heather before we get started and put up her contact info. So here is her website. Her organization is Center for Joy. And so that's centerforjoywithheather.com. So Heather Schwartz is an energy psychology practitioner specializing in clinical EFT, which is emotional freedom techniques, which you're going to hear a little bit about shortly. She guides her clients through a self-discovery journey to find that inner calm and peace. She also equips her clients with a rapid stress reduction tool to empower them in their own self-healing. So Heather has her inner MBA through a collaboration between NYU Mindful, Sounds True, and Wisdom 2.0, where she is now working as a learning community leader for their program. Those are all fabulous organizations, and I can't wait to hear more about the Inner MBA. So why don't we just jump right in, Heather? And you know that the first question that I like to ask my guest is start by, just telling us a little bit about your spiritual journey, whatever it is you want to share. But, we only have 30 minutes total.
Oh, yeah, this could take days. So like many, my story will resonate for those who had childhood trauma. And I would say that my spiritual journey has had moments throughout my life, transitional moments that have all had some awakening, some connection to spirituality. And yet the ego pulls us away from that. And my ego did a really good job for many years. And it was in 2019 in December that I sort of had that dark night of the soul true awakening experience where I lost the identity to the ego, and went on this journey, this roller coaster of a journey. And yeah, it was a gift. At the time, I didn't think it was much of a gift. I didn't really enjoy the experience while it was happening. It lasted for about 6 weeks until I could regulate myself.
Mm.
And then the pandemic hit. So I was sort of prepared to go into all this.
Yeah, yeah. So when you had that awakening, I mean, I guess it was like a little, I don't know, what would you call it? Sometimes before a breakthrough, we have a breakdown.
Oh, yeah.
Is
So
that sort of a feeling that led to it? Yeah.
So I will describe how most people would describe it. Most people would describe it as a breakdown, emotional breakdown. Some might even consider it a break from consciousness, right? A psychotic break, right? Detaching from the self or detaching from the ego.
Mm-hmm.
I see it as an awakening. It was my, great moment of awakening, that when you hear Eckhart Tolle and Byron Katie speak about their experiences, I was sort of having this outer body experience. And it was a lot of stress compounded that then turned into extreme acute anxiety that, I couldn't regulate. And had I gone to doctors, which I totally recommend people, if that's the direction they need to go, that they should. I did not. There was something about this experience for me that my body was preparing me for many years, because I had been surrounded by healers. And so they were all disguised as nutritionists and massage therapists, but yet they were healers. And I was held by healers. And very quickly, without medication, without being in an institution, I was sort of regulated and given this information, this gift, and this journey. So I'm grateful.
Yeah, well, that's amazing, because, the way it unfolded, that's what needed to happen for you,
Absolutely.
because
And
everybody's
in the way
different.
it unfolded, and
Uh-huh.
how many years it took to unfold.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it sounds like you're on an amazing trajectory now, everything that you've discovered, right?
Absolutely. And the number 2 is really significant. And there are many reasons why. And I'm really connected to this number 2. And I recognize that the first time it happened, I was in it for about 2 months. I was new to it. It was the first time that I was actually feeling my body. I was really feeling, I was out of my head and I was in my body. I was forced to.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it wasn't the greatest feelings, I was still forced to feel it. And since then, I had another similar experience that I was in for about 2 days. And more recently, even just 6 weeks ago, I was in it for about 2 weeks. And so the way I like to share with others is that it's not so much about being healed, because everybody, wants to know, will this heal me? Right? It's about healing. And healing is, a constant. That ing is just a constant, right? And with each new awakening, you can look at it with curiosity. You've got to kind of go through those hard moments to come out of it with great pieces of information. It's where the gold is. It's like hidden deep inside.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm digging for gold here.
Yeah, and it is. I think that's a great metaphor, because it feels like a lot of times the gold or the gifts are buried because of what happens to us as we're growing, even from our childhood. All of the programming that kind of comes on top of us tends to bury lots of things, right? Emotions, the trauma, you name it, right?
Absolutely. And it's just a moment that you get to where you realize, oh, these are just stories. They're just stories. That doesn't mean they have to be true.
Yeah.
And you can rewrite your stories, and you can go back and parent that inner child right? You can take out all parts of you and just play with them and make them feel welcomed, like these inner sacred beings, which I am influenced by IFS, internal family systems. Yeah. So yeah, it's coming to be more comfortable with all parts of you.
That's a good way of describing it, because yeah, I also know IFS through my coaching with the parts work. Yeah. And, the philosophy is that all parts are good. And the only thing that can make them feel not good is when they get out of sync or out of order or misaligned somehow. So that internal family system is not operating the way it's really designed to, right?
Exactly. And that's when we have these parts that we put away and we exile them because we don't think that they can handle. So the firefighters and the managers are going to come out to protect. And if we can just ask them to step aside just for a moment, allow that, exiled part of you to come back out, let them see that, this happened when you were 8 or you were 10 or maybe even older. And that, now you're a healthy, resourced adult and they don't have to work so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where the gold is. And that's where the healing begins. Yes, I totally agree with you. There's no finite time when we're, quote, healed, but we're all being healed as, because I also believe that we heal ourselves. And you and I are the practitioners, the facilitators, right? But we have that innate ability inside of us. That's what's so beautiful about being human is we're like this unbelievable design, right?
Absolutely. And I think that that's what drew me to become an EFT practitioner. The self-healing that is available to all of us. There's a biblical, right? It's you can teach someone to fish, or you can feed someone, or you can teach them to fish. Or you can teach, right? And everybody has this ability within them for self-healing.
Yeah. So,
but I consider myself a guide, and I'm
just
guiding people.
So how did you find the EFT? Was it through, I want to hear more about the inner MBA, but whichever one you want to talk about.
Sure. I can share both in pretty much an, so I was held by healers. And of course I believe in the universe. Some people like to say God, it's whatever feels right for somebody. I connected very quickly with the universe. I connected very quickly that I truly felt like this soul having a human experience. And I found myself and a healer that I was sitting in her office, and I'll never forget. And she said, if you came to me yesterday, I could not have shared this with you. There is a person that worked with my partner last night. My partner has had PTSD, hasn't slept in 20 years. He met with this gentleman who does the emotional freedom techniques, and he slept last night for the first time. And I was in such a vulnerable place that I said, I'll do anything. And 6 sessions. It's not the greatest business model. When you tell somebody, oh, you just need 6 sessions. It's not true. You need more than 6 sessions, but you can see such an impact in even 3 to 6 sessions. Even 1 session, you see the impact because you come back for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I have many clients who have done the 6 sessions with me, and then they're off for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then something triggers them and they come back in and like, okay, I got something else I want to work on. Okay. But all in all, they're building up this resiliency. They're learning tools. I'm always empowering my clients how to do it on their own. And although there's resistance, I had resistance. I wasn't tapping on my own. EFT is also known as tapping. I did get into tapping on my own when I was sort of felt forced I needed to. When I wanted to detach from the practitioner, when I wanted to be able to empower myself. So Yeah. So because I had this profound experience, and we went into this pandemic, and it gave me a time to reflect and slow down and just be. I reflected, and I actually went to one of my friends who's a healer, and she did some muscle testing on me. And what I thought I wanted to do, I gave her 3 options. I said, let me know what my body thinks is right. What does my higher self want to say? And it was EFT. It was get certified in EFT. And it was then go get your inner MBA.
Nice.
And it was beautiful the way it went. And my cognitive brain, my thinking mind would never have put me in that direction, because EFT was really the last that I really thought I would do. So I went and got certified. It usually takes a year to 18 months. I dove right in. I was dedicated to day and night, and I did it in 7 months because I just couldn't wait to get out there and do it. And I had a wonderful mentor say to me, there are people out there that need your help and need your gifts. What are you waiting for? And talk about self-doubt. I mean, right? So much self-doubt. And she was empowering me in that moment. And she gave me really the confidence. And then I enrolled in the Inner MBA, and this became my community to play and to share this with. So for an entire year, I spent time learning from others and offering EFT. And from that, built my clientele and my whole client base. I've re-immersed myself in the Inner MBA again this year as a learning community leader. Because I still want to offer my workshops there, and I want to support people on the journey. The Inner MBA is a program that Tammy Simon put together. She's the head of Sounds True, and she brought in Mindful NYU for the educational piece and Wisdom 2.0. And she built up, this will be the 3rd cohort. So the first cohort was in 2020. I joined it in 2021. And I graduated in May. And it's really meant for the burnt out executive. Shocking that this all started in 2020. She planned it in 2019 and way before.
Oh, wow.
And so really, talk about the universe, right? Yeah. Perfect timing, where everyone really needed this. I too was burnt out. I worked 20 plus years in executive search, and I loved what I did. And it wasn't until I found myself back in the business after taking some time off, I found myself in a really toxic work environment. And I wasn't used to that. My job straight out of college was in such a great place, and really felt supported. And I was managing others, and it was always supporting them. And it was just a really good feeling organization. And here in the Inner MBA, it's a lot of executives that are trying to change business from the inside out. They spend the first trimester working on themselves. Then they work on the second trimester on how their relationship with others. And then the third trimester is more their relationship with their business and how business can be a force of good. So there's a lot of learning about B Corps. Conscious leaders are on part of the faculty. And while they offer many stress reduction tools and resources, I have been able to come in and offer something that no one else is offering in the program. And that's a rapid stress reduction tool. And I'll get to that. Because there are some rapid results that can come from EFT. And it might not be for everybody, because if you're not ready to go down that journey, it can be a little scary. And yet the results can be so profound. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love that concept. I wasn't even familiar with the Inner MBA, because all of the great organizations that she brought in. So I mean, what a brilliant model.
Mm-hmm.
And is it all virtual online?
It's all virtual. It's all online. And I would say what piqued my interest the most was a gentleman by the name of Scott Shute, who was the vice president of compassion and mindfulness programs at LinkedIn. And, with my executive search background, I'm like, what's going on at LinkedIn? I still have this, business background. I still feel really comfortable in business, want to work with people in business, right? And he really intrigued me. And he was the head of, I think, sales, development and support. And he segued because of his passion into building at LinkedIn. And it's not as well known, but many organizations, many big companies have now heads of mindfulness and compassion programs.
Yeah, well, that's really smart of them because that helps everybody. I would want to work at a place that had that for sure.
Yeah, I wish I wish I had the skills in my last job to help the people that were working for me, because any slight incident in the day could trigger my staff, who were a bunch of 20-year-olds, and they were really triggered on a regular basis, and there was no productivity. If something happened, I would be relieved if it happened at least at the end of the day. But if it happened at the beginning of the day,
yeah,
nothing's happening for the rest of the day.
Wow. Yeah.
And how do you support and care for someone when you don't know how to? So if you can have people in the organization who they can pop in and just be guided, it's, could be extremely helpful.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about the immediate stress reduction tool that you developed? I'd like to hear more about that.
Sure. I wish I could say I developed it, but it has been evolving for many years. And so EFT, emotional freedom techniques, is the most widely used form of energy psychology. It's also known as tapping. And the combination of using a somatic experience. So the somatic experience is actually tapping on meridian points, right? So if you get acupuncture, they'll put needles here, but you can tap and you can stimulate the same spots that are all associated with your organs, which hold your emotions, right? And you can calm your system so very quickly and so very easily. And even as I do this right now, I can feel through my body. I can't say I felt it the first time. I know it was doing something because by the end it felt great. And we'll go through it if you'd like. So there's a somatic experience with exposure therapy elements. I'm not a licensed clinical practitioner. I'm clinically certified, but I'm not licensed. I do not diagnose. I'm grateful I don't diagnose, because I work with people who have been diagnosed because there's so many emotions that are charged up. I work with people on their emotions and having a better relationship with their emotions. And if they can have a better relationship with their emotions, the sky's the limit for them.
Yeah.
So we will tap. We will say things like, even though I stubbed my toe, right? And I think I'm this big klutz, I still love and accept myself. And it's in the accepting part, which is a component of CBT therapy, right? Cognitive behavioral therapy, that's where the gold is. Because once we can just accept these parts of ourselves, when we can accept our pain, when we can accept our diagnosis, when we can accept our emotions, right? It's all those exiled parts. So here I'm working with people and I'm protecting my energy, right? By tapping with them. So I don't get, the beautiful part is I don't get triggered by what anyone says. And I went through extensive training to ensure that. So it's beautiful because I tap along with my clients and I just guide them on the journey.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, and you use it for yourself whenever you need to, like if you feel like you needed extra calmness or anything like that, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it takes me right in, for a year before this great awakening, I was reading about meditation and how good it was for you. And I couldn't do it, just could not sit. and felt a lot of feelings around the fact that I couldn't sit. Like, why can't you do this? And once I found EFT and found the tapping, I would do 2 rounds, and what would take me 10 minutes, I would just fall right into this very deep meditation, which Dawson Church talks about as eco meditation. He puts in 5 different elements that are all known to get you into this brainwave that is been proven to show healing parts to the brain, and lighting up these parts of your brain that are part of your healing. So
yeah. So the tapping helps you get to that point where you can be there in those brain waves.
absolutely.
Okay.
Along with an eco meditation, which involves relaxing your tongue on the floor of your mouth, which will access your vagus nerve, slowing your breath to 6 in, 6 out count, gets you into heart coherence, empty space in your mind, just removing all thoughts, sending out gratitude.
Yeah, that's a really helpful one, isn't it? Yeah.
It's what they've tested, is that monks who've been meditating for years, someone hooked up to EEGs can get to the same brainwaves as monks who've been doing it for years. But what Dawson Church will say is, a lot of people are meditating, but are they meditating effectively?
Mm-hmm.
Are they really getting the full effects of a deep meditation? And so I love his eco meditation.
Yeah,
it gets me there pretty fast.
Yeah, it sounds like a great one. That and the tapping. So can you just take us through kind of quickly again where you did the tapping, where the meridians are?
Sure. So we tap on the side of our hand.
Mm-hmm.
And typically I'll say, because this is where the reversal is, right? And you can just say 3 times, even though, and you can say the problem. I deep and completely love and accept myself. If you can say that, you're always going to say what's true for you. And the tapping is sort of getting your body so relaxed. It's tending to your nervous system, right? It's calming the system.
Yeah, and the body always tells the truth.
It does, right? And so it's so easy to get somebody out of their head and into their body when they're tapping. So we'll tap on here for 3 times, even though the problem, and then the affirmation. Even though the problem, the affirmation. Even though the problem, the affirmation. Mm-hmm. And then we'll just do reminders. I stubbed my toe. I stubbed my toe. I'm such a klutz. I stubbed my toe. That stupid stool, right? The beautiful part is that we don't try to get somebody over it, right? We take somebody through it. So for as long as they want to be with those emotions, and it's pretty quick that they leave, those angry, frustrated emotions, tapping the side of the hand, right? Tapping the top of the head. And you can do bilateral tapping. You can do one-handed tapping, eyebrow point, side of the eye, under the eye, under your nose, your chin, collarbone, and under your arm.
Wow. So it doesn't take very long.
It doesn't. In fact, I've been in situations where I got to go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom.
Take a little break.
Yeah. Even though
right.
It's my secret little weapon.
Well, thank you for taking us through that. We're just about out of time. I know this goes by so fast, but I think that's really helpful for people to learn that on their own, and they can do it whenever they feel like they're going to be triggered. They need that. So thanks again, Heather, for being here. I'm going to
Thank you, Katie.
Up your website again so people can contact you there. I know you have a free 20-minute consultation they can schedule right there on your website. If they're just curious about any of this, they can ask questions. So
absolutely.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks again. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This was wonderful.
Thank you. Namaste. And thanks to all our
Namaste.
today. All right. Take care.